So just before we come into the yin, we're just going to do some gentle movements just to arrive here. I think sometimes it's quite tricky just to go straight into the long hold. So we'll just take a moment just to take some movements, connect to our breath, and really just arrive here after probably our busy days out and about. So knees sinking down into the earth, hips sinking down, spine long. And then we're going to invert the palms, interlace the fingers, and reach the hands up to the sky. So palms facing away from you. And then as you exhale, just drop the shoulders down. So keeping the neck neutral, gazing in front of you, just reaching the hands up as you sink deeper with the hips. So it's that kind of dual action, reaching up and pressing down. Take a deep breath in here. And as you exhale, we're just going to lean over to the left. So taking the hands and the torso over to the left as much as you can whilst keeping your right knee pressing down. Inhale back to center. Reach up with the palms. And then exhale, pressing into the left knee, side bend over to the right. Inhale back to the center. We'll do that again. Exhale over to the left. Inhale back to the center. And then exhale last time over to the right, reaching away with the palms. Inhale, coming back to the center. And then as you exhale, we take our right hand onto our left knee and the left fingertips come behind us. We're coming into a simple spinal twist. So inhale, finding length, reaching the crown of the head up. And then exhale, twisting from the navel, gazing over the left shoulder. And just holding here for a few breaths. On every inhale, finding length. And with every exhale, twisting. Again, pressing down into your right knee, really grounding down there to twist deeper. And then inhale, coming back to center, interlacing the fingers, stretching up with the palms again, finding length. And then as you exhale this time, taking the left hand onto the right knee, right fingertips behind you, twisting, gazing over the right shoulder, working with the breath here. Inhale, finding length, and exhale, actively pressing your palm against your knee, gazing over the right shoulder. See if you can find an audible breath here. So maybe not quite as strong as an ujjayi, but just see if you can really tune into your breath, breathing in and breathing out. And then inhale back to center. We're going to switch the cross of the legs. So bring the more unfamiliar leg in front. And from here, we're going to, so we've got the heels one in front of another. We're going to find length in the spine and then just walk the fingertips forward, again, grounding down into the seat, reaching the fingertips forward as far as you can. Maybe you can rest the forearms and the elbows down. Maybe the head can drop towards the earth, but all the while keeping the sit bones grounding down to the earth. So pressing away with the hands and sinking the chest down towards the floor. Breath is long, slow and deep. I'm going to take a big breath in. And then breathing out, we're going to do a lion's breath, so sticking the tongue out, releasing through the mouth. No one can see you. Breathing in again, deep breath in. Deep breath out, sticking the tongue out. One more deep breath in. Lion's breath out. Really nice. Walking the hands back, bringing the feet now behind you. You need to come back on your mat if you're at the top of the mat. We're just going to come into an easy child's pose to begin with. So if you need to use something just to pad underneath the ankles, then that's great. We're going to try and keep the knees together, feet together. So you can bring a cushion between your heels and your sit bones if you like. And then just walk forward. Bring the forehead onto the mat and the arms alongside the body. If you need a block, you can place a block underneath your forehead here. Just releasing the hip flexors, lower back, and shoulders. Feel the shoulders dropping down, heavy. Just take a few moments just to find any last movements that you need just before you come into stillness. And then just a way to bring our attention to where we are now. I'm just going to take our focus to any sounds we can hear outside. So maybe some cars passing by, or maybe some birds still tweeting, or children playing, people walking by. Just see if you can hear any sounds outside the room, outside the house. And then starting to bring the awareness, the hearing inside the house you're in. So maybe just outside the door, maybe there's someone pottering around, or maybe you can hear your neighbours above you or below you. Just really tuning into the subtleties of what you can hear. And then finally bringing the awareness into the room. So not just the sound of my voice, maybe the music, but also any noises you can hear from inside the room, computer whirring or radiators or creaking in the floorboards. Just really bring your awareness to everything inside the room you're in. 100% focus on the sounds. And finally, after that exercise, you might have now created enough awareness within yourself to hear your own breath, maybe even your own heartbeat. Just take a few moments just to be with those sounds, be with your own body. And then stretching the arms forward, keeping the forehead down or replacing the forehead. Just going to take a shoulder stretch just for a few breaths. So you can stay up on your fingertips, or if you need a bit more support, you can come down onto your palms, spreading the fingers. And just feeling the stretch across the shoulders. Try to actively draw them away from your ears. Torso heavy on the upper legs, upper thighs. And then walking the hands back underneath the shoulders. Going to come into a tabletop position, just as a transition. You can stay still here depending on your energy. If you want to take a few cat-cows or some movements into the spine, now's a good time to do so. Just doing what feels good. Maybe taking some figure of eights, circling around the wrists, coming forward and back. Just see what feels nice for you. You okay, Bina? Yeah. Good. Okay, and then we're going to come into a low lunge position. So starting on the right hand side, bringing the right foot between the hands. And we're going to keep the right knee over the right ankle. So we're trying to keep that 90-degree angle with the front leg, but the back leg can be back as far as you need to feel a stretch in the left hip flexor. So this is a more active pose in yin. We'll start here and then we'll gradually work our way down. So you can bring your hands onto your thigh, just working here into a gentle back bend. Jenny, if your back's not feeling great, just stay here. You can even start to tip the weight forward a little bit and make it a bit more rested. Just see how you feel. If not, maybe start to lean back, opening the chest. So we've done Anjaneyasana here. Opening the chest to the sky, gazing up, but keeping the neck long. And just stretching through the quads, the hips, releasing any tension. If you need some padding under your knee, just bring a blanket or a cushion underneath your back knee. We won't be here for too long. Just see if you can take a little scan through the body and notice if there's anywhere that you're holding on. Maybe you could sink just a little bit deeper. That's it, Jenny. Allowing the weight of gravity just to draw the hips forward and down. Really nice. And then bringing the fingertips down, we're going to do a reverse action. So just stretching now through the right hamstrings, staying quite open in the chest. You can keep the sole of the foot down, the right foot down, or maybe tuck the left toes under, bring the right toes up to the sky and walk the hands back and sitting on our left heel into the hamstring stretch we did this weekend as well. Just stretching the backs of the legs. You can come up with the torso as much as you like, or if you'd like to, you can start to walk the fingertips forward, increasing the stretch. Bowing the head. This is quite a strong stretch on our left toes as well. I think for the first time, I don't know if you guys are quite there yet, but for the first time I've put my boots away. I've been wearing boots for months and now all of a sudden my toes are free. So nice. So yeah, this is a nice stretch, just working to different. We're just here for 30 more seconds. So being with the sensations as they arise. Good, and then re-bending the right knee. This time we're going to walk the hands over to the left as we roll onto the right side of our right foot. You might want to take your left knee back slightly. And we're now stretching to the outer side of the right hip. So the right knee is out to the side. We're on the right hand side of our right foot. Walking the hands over to the left. Again, we'll just be here for about 1.5 minutes, so not too long. We're just working gradually on releasing the hips before we come into some of the more stronger poses. So again, as you find more openness into the hip, you can start to walk the fingertips further away. Right knee comes further out to the side. If you need more support, you can bring the palms back down. Notice if the shoulders have crept up towards the ears, and just try to draw them back down. Good, and then walking the hands back to the centre, we'll bring the knee back to the centre, and then take that knee back behind you, coming back into a tabletop. Again, just doing whatever movements feel good for the spine, cat-cow, or taking the hips in circles. And then when you're ready, we'll take the left foot between the hands, coming into a lunge on this side. So again, keeping the ankle and the knee on the left side stacked, but you can take your right knee further back behind the hip. So again, bringing the hands onto the thigh. You can stay here. We'll start working on a gentle back bend, starting to extend the arms, but go slowly. Be here for a couple of minutes in Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Wherever you are, opening the chest up to the sky, releasing the shoulders down, really nice journey. And try to keep the gaze neutral, so we're not crunching the neck back or forward. The neck's an extension of the spine. Again, just working with gravity here, dropping the hips forward and down. So this month in the classes we've been working with the theme of aparigraha, which is the concept of non-grasping. It's one of the yamas, one of Patanjali's yamas, moral precepts. So obviously the yin practice is the perfect way to practice letting go, not holding on. If we hold on, we'll remain rigid, but in our yin practice we want to let everything soften and release. Obviously then the challenge comes when we have to take that practice off the yoga mat and into real life and let go of all the things that we're holding on to physically and mentally. But it's a work in progress. Okay, and then extending the left leg now, so taking the hands down to the floor. Just experiment first with the sole of the left foot down, coming into more of a traditional runner's pose, opening the chest, so come up onto your fingertips to keep the chest open, that's it, B. And then maybe tucking the right toes under, you could work on bringing the left toes now up to the sky, slowly walking your hands back, coming to sit on your right heel, stretching your left hamstrings. Again, you can come up as much as you need to, or you could start to walk the fingertips forward and fold over the left leg, whatever feels good for you. And just remembering to keep that breath long, slow and deep. So the breath will send signals to the brain that everything's okay. So we can basically fake it until we make it. And use the breath as a way of calming the mind down. Just here for 30 more seconds. So just feeling that intense stretch into the right sole of the foot and the toes, down the back of the leg. See if you can stay with it. Obviously not feeling any pain if you feel any pain coming out, but if it's discomfort, just see what happens if you stick with it. Maybe if you embrace it and move into it, it might actually start to feel more bearable. Maybe. Just experiment. Perfect. And then re-bending the left knee. We're going to come into the high pigeon variation. So walking the right hand, the hands over to the right hand side, and then coming over onto the left side of the left foot. You might need to walk your right knee back, pointing the right toes. And then just seeing if you can sink the hips low. Staying up on your fingertips or releasing down onto the palms. Stretching through the left hand side of the hip, the outer edge of the hip. Be here for 2 minutes. Releasing the shoulders down if you can. Coming back to the breath every time the mind starts to wander. It's all part of the practice. Apparently we have between 60,000 and 90,000 thoughts a day. I learned this week, which is ridiculous, but it makes me feel better. Sometimes when I feel like my mind is frantic, I feel like I'm the only one, but apparently not. So obviously we can't stop the thoughts, but we can choose how to deal with them. We can choose how to react to them. We can either hold on to them and get carried away and lost in the storyline, or we can just let them go and come back to them later. And for now we want to go with the latter option, so just trying to stay focused on the present, letting go of any thoughts that aren't useful during the practice. Walking the hands back, bringing the sole of the foot back down. And from here we're going to come into probably my least favourite pose ever, but we'll do it together. Agni Stampasana, so fire log pose. So coming to sit first. So we're going to bring the right shin parallel to the front of the mat. So it's in a line with the front of the mat. And the idea is, maybe I can, yeah, let me just explain. I was going to say I'll spotlight Lena, but let's see if I can explain. So taking the left ankle onto the right knee and then lining up the shins. So the shins should be stacked here, and it's really quite nasty. But yeah, we're just going to work with it. So take a block here if you've got one and place it underneath your left knee if your left knee isn't down on your right ankle. So if you've got something for the left knee to relax onto, it will actually relax eventually, and it will start to loosen. So we'll take all the support that we need here and then find length through the spine. So sitting up tall, that's it. And then just bringing the hands to rest, maybe the left hand onto the left knee, the right hand onto the right foot, left foot. And we're just going to try to be with this pose. So closing the eyes here. If it becomes too much at any time, obviously you can just come into a normal cross-legged position, but trying to notice when we run away from the discomfort. And just seeing if we can just push the boundaries a little bit more. Making sure that both sit bones are down equally. So we'll be here for 3 minutes. So try not to think of it as a torture. Let's just notice if we can release into the hips. Using our breath. So we've been here for a minute already. Hopefully that flew. You can stay upright, or you can just work on, see how you feel, but maybe bringing the hands out in front of you, coming onto your fingertips or your hands. If you come down onto the palms, it might actually take a bit of pressure off. But obviously you are coming a bit deeper into the pose, so see how you feel. So maybe walking the fingertips further away and then releasing down. You could bring a block onto your shin, release your forehead down. If not, we're staying upright. Really deep external hip rotation here. Just one more minute. Okay, and then starting to walk the fingertips back if they're extended. I'm going to take both soles of the feet down onto the mat, going slowly here, and then we'll just windscreen wipe the knees left and right, going slower than normal. Just really releasing the hips here. If you want to, you can bring your hands behind you, pressing into the feet, and then just lift the hips up, slightly coming into reverse tabletop position, just to release the quads and the hip flexors. If not, just carry on with the windscreen wiping. And then when you're ready, we're going to come on to the other side. So we're bringing our left shins parallel to the front of the mat. And then this time taking the right heel on to the left knee. See how that feels. I always need to do a bit of a wiggle, so I press my hands down, lift the seat, and then place the seat back down so that the sit bones are level. That does tend to help. And then taking your block, just noticing whether you did bring the knee down further on the other side after the 3 minutes, quite possibly. If not, no problem. And then we're all going to sit up tall for the first minute here. So just noticing the difference in the sides. Maybe this side's tighter, maybe this side's slightly easier, just seeing if there's any difference. And then letting it go without judgment. Finding a tall spine, so maybe lean back slightly. That's it. Yeah, perfect. If this is really unbearable, you can take your hands behind you. That takes off some of the pressure. If not, we're just staying where we are. And then you can stay upright for the last 2 minutes again, just tiptoe there, or fingertip the hands forward. So slowly coming forward, increasing the stretch. See how you feel. So finding a gaze point, a drishti, a point of focus, or lowering the gaze, closing the eyes. You can maybe bring your attention to the third eye, Antar, drishti, and a gaze between the eyebrows. One more minute here, so choosing to either maybe come a little deeper, see if you can release the knee slightly lower, or maybe coming back out, just seeing how you feel. and then walking the hands back, coming up to a seated position if you're not there already. We're going to unravel, so taking both feet down, soles of the feet down. This time, unless you feel like going back into the reverse tabletop, if not, we're going to go, just stretch the legs out and shake the feet from right to left, just to release the legs and the hips. Really good. Okay, so we're going to come into a couple of forward bends here. So Jenny, just see how you go with your back. I would sit up on something again. So I'm going to double over my blanket, or if you've got a cushion or something, just to be a bit more comfortable. We're going to come into Baddha Konasana, or butterfly pose. So bringing the soles of the feet together, sitting up tall, finding length in the spine, and then actually, because we've all got walls nearby, I'm inspired by Nishari, our fellow TT from today. He sent us a video of a technique that we learned during the teacher training, so PNF it's called. So if you've got a wall nearby, just come and sit with your back against the wall. And then we're going to use this technique just to help release the groin, release the hips. Already having the back up against the wall helps. We've got a support there. But what we're going to do is we're going to place our hands, our palms, onto our thighs, probably middle of the thighs, maybe bringing the wrists out in front, or you can take the wrist behind, whatever feels good for you. And we're going to actively press into the palms. And as we press the thighs into the palms, we're also pressing the palms into the thighs. So it's like a mutual action, really quite strong action. Pressing the thighs against the palms down towards the floor, finding length through the spine. Keep grounding down through the sit bones, keep pressing, 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 pressing. Be here for 5 deep breaths. So actively pressing down into the thighs. Two more breaths. Good, and then take one more deep breath in. Keep pressing, pressing, pressing. And then as you exhale, we're going to release and just see if the thighs can stay where they are. So maybe slightly lower than they were at the start of the practice. So that's called PNF. Thanks to Mishari for adding that into the practice today. So you can stay here with the back against the wall. I quite like it, but if you prefer, you can come back onto your mat, that's fine. And now we're going to come into the more typical pose. So starting to walk the hands forward, or you can take hold of the inner soles of the feet with your hands and open the soles of the feet up to the sky. And then with an open chest, gazing up, we're just going to start to tip the weight forward from the hips, bringing the torso forward and down, chin moving forward of the toes. And then when you feel like you've reached your maximum stretch, using any props that you've got nearby, so maybe taking a block underneath your forehead. Maybe if you've got 2 blocks, you can place them underneath your knees again, give them something to rest into. And then releasing here. I'll be here for 3 minutes again, so plenty of time just to let the let gravity do the work. Now that we've used a bit of pressure, now we're just releasing any tension, releasing any holding, and just letting the weight of the knees draw down towards the floor. Seeing if you can release any tension in the lower back here, hinging just a little bit further. Really nice, good Jenny. Take 5 more conscious breaths here together. And then releasing any props. I'm going to come up slowly. And just bringing the feet, soles of the feet onto the floor. Taking the arms around the knees. And then dropping the forehead onto the knees. Just resting here. And then lifting the head, coming back to the mat, slowly, mindfully. I'm going to roll all the way down onto our backs. So we're going to do a few things before we come down into Shavasana, but if you want to turn your lights off now and get ready, We won't be doing anything too strenuous now, so do whatever you need to do, put on some layers, turn out the lights, get comfortable, grab your eye pillow if you've got one nearby, and a cushion to put under your knees maybe later. That's it. And then when you're ready, we're going to come down onto our backs and just hug the knees into the chest like we were just doing, but this time on our backs. No rush. You can rock from side to side. So from here we're going to come into Happy Baby. So extending the soles of the feet up towards the sky and then drawing the knees in to the armpits, taking hold of the outer edges of the feet with the hands, drawing the sacrum down, so making sure that the whole of the spine is down, pressing down onto the mat. And then pulling the knees in towards the armpits. Releasing here. You can rock side to side again here if that feels nice. And then just finding some stillness. And releasing the soles of the feet back down onto the mat. So we're going to come into a reclined spinal twist. So take whatever option you feel like. Probably the least amount of stress on the back is just bringing the feet out to mat width, knees together, and then taking the knees over to one side. And you can prop up the knee as much as you need to, the left knee going over to the left. If you prefer, you can cross the right leg over the left and then lift the hips, take them over to the right, place them back down, and then take the knees over to the left hand side, stretching the arms out wide if you've got the space. Again, placing whatever you need to prop up the knee if it's not on the ground. And then maybe covering yourself with a blanket here. Doing whatever you need just to find a bit of comfort. Again, here is quite an easy, it's quite easy to see or feel the breath expanding into the lungs, expanding into the ribcage. So maybe you can just, even with your eyes closed, watch the chest rising and fall, feeling that sensation. Using the breath to help you stay here just for the last few minutes of our practice before we go off and rush off into the rest of the evening and continue with our to-do list. Just see if you can give yourself the luxury of doing absolutely nothing but being here. And then taking a deep breath in, bringing the knees back to the centre, unwinding, unravelling if they're crossed. And then we're coming over to the other side, so either knees together, feet width, mat width apart, or taking the left leg over the right, lifting the hips, taking the hips over to the left hand side, and then releasing the knees down to the right, stretching the arms out again, gazing over the opposite shoulder. Take a few moments just to find your release here. And on your next deep breath in, bring the knees back to the centre, bring the hips back to the centre. And we're going to release the legs along the mat. And even taking a blanket or a pillow or a cushion underneath your knees, covering yourself up with a blanket for our final relaxation, maybe covering the eyes. Arms stretching out wide. Feel the hips really heavy now on the mat, just releasing any tension across the hips. Belly soft, heels heavy, back of the head heavy. Releasing all of the muscles in the face, around the jaw, cheekbones, temples and forehead. Letting go of any intention here to do anything at all. Just resting here. I'm going to leave you in Shavasana, but just to close the practice together, bringing the hands together in prayer, bringing the thumbs to the third eye, the space between the eyebrows. Just taking a moment to feel gratitude to yourself for showing up today. See if you can follow that intention for the rest of the evening, the rest of the week, to maybe let go of the things that we don't need. Thank you both so much. It's been really lovely practicing with you. Have a